Insane aquarium, well played. Thank goodness. Yeah, we sailed off into the distance. Alright, okay. Though I will say there is a difference between a joke being offensive and a joke being perhaps a little bit too real. There is room there. Some real jokes you're like, I didn't want to hear that. That hit me in the feels a bit too hard. I feel called out. I feel attacked. The joke wasn't offensive. It's just maybe you need to have a hard look at yourself. Like all of the jokes talking about how I'm basically sat in front of the computer and don't get enough exercise. Yeah, it's an uncomfortable truth. Right. You're unhappy. They're satisfied. Have a quick look at you. Let's allow it to play, but why are you only satisfied? Your development is amazing. I could, in fact, even tax you a little bit more if I really wanted to. It's like some jokes. I guess the point I try to make there is some jokes have no target really. They're just silly. Like the joke. What was it? I'm not vegetarian because I love animals. I'm a vegetarian because I hate plants. That's just funny to me. No one is the butt of that joke. Except maybe the plants. Yeah, 30% loss from corruption. Who knew that Space Skaven were going to be a little bit corruptible? Puns are never good. Except when they are, despite yourself. Right, I think now that we've got our spaceport over here, we've got our troops recruited. This one is building up. This one hasn't quite been finished yet. But we do now have 2 construction yards, which is fantastic. We've got a load of ships moving in for repair or retrofit. Absolute loads of them. And a bunch of new ships being built as well. Let's have a look. Private shipbuilding, current, private fuel, colony taxes. Okay, not too bad. Troop maintenance. Projected there. It's going to be reasonably high, but colony growth, research. How are the 2 colonies doing? I'm especially keen on Aavak. Okay, the general level of development is now starting to rise. So I feel that Aavak can start paying some tax. Let's bring that all the way up to 10. We approve of the current tax rate. I'm glad. Actually, let's allow you to be a little bit happier with that. Let's pop that down to 7. We're starting to bring in a bit of cash, but there's not a lot yet to skim there. Avakis, maybe I'll drop the tax rate just a little bit. We'll bring that down to 15. That will drop our current cash flow a decent amount, but it will make the overall happiness on the planet significantly higher. Alright. Now, as for things in here, we can probably afford to pop a little bit more. Well, actually, no. No, we've not got that much extra access, but we are keeping 10% of available funds at all times, so I'm reasonably happy with that. 13% of the way to stable warfields. And I strongly feel that following that, I'm glad that we discovered that I need cargo... oh, no, cancel that, please. That I need cargo capacity for people before we actually jumped into that. Basic troop transport there. Is that maybe what we're going to need? Not sure. Because until we have that... Basic colonization. This will give me the colonization module. Basic transport systems. There we go. That's what we're going to need. There's no point in having the resorts until we've got this. Extra fuel would be nicer. Bigger cargo bays would also be nice. What are we going to go for next? Armor plating on our ships would actually be genuinely quite good. Better reactors would be fantastic, because currently our one reactor... how much power does this output? Size 23 and produces 54. This would be size 22, so it would be smaller and would produce 62. It's not the enormous improvement that I would like, but it is definitely an improvement. Genetic replication, robotic troops, shock forces. We do have the extended range tractor beams as a specialty weapon. We've also got heavy ion weapons, which is a specialty for our particular race. The ion bomb. What? I think this is a direct fire. This is a area weapon, so we could have an area weapon ion. Fire type. Oh, seeking. Okay, so it's basically a missile. Range 1,700. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Area blast range 160. Area blast speed 300. Damage at max range 8.23. I am liking that. I am liking that a great deal. I definitely would like to get to being able to board enemy ships. Like, I think this would be a great direction for us to go in. That being the scavengers that we are, we don't just trash enemy ships. We try to take enemy ships. Recycle. Crew system. The big question though is, do I go for crew systems or the reactor? Because this thing is probably going to suck a lot more power. Jump range 120 million. Jump accuracy, hyperdrive, and 85. And over here it's just 30. So yeah, we really do need a lot more power. The moment this is done, we're going to need a hell of a lot more power. Which is a pain. Right. So once we've got that, I think we do need to go for nuclear fission. I'll pay the costs, get that in there. How much is this to crash? 19,000. I can't even pay for 19,000. How much is this to crash? 15,000. Alright, well, it's all paid up. So we're going to have both of them running simultaneously. They're both going to take a fair while, but I kind of need them to finish more. Like, there's no point in me having the stable warp fields before I have the nuclear fission, because my current ships just won't be able to do anything with that. I am sort of tempted to crash the nuclear fission. Actually, yeah, I might do. Can I click it again? Yeah, initiate crash research. There we go. Alright, so 2 times speed on that one. So it's going to be finished even faster in just 2.8 years, and then all my efforts will go back to the stable warp fields. And it's also impossible for it to fail. That's the big thing with Crash. What do you mean by Crash? As in hard fund it to get it done quicker? Yes, CEO of Alcorp. We've put it into a Crash program. Now that has 2 consequences. One is it will be finished faster, as you can see. In this case, it's researching now twice as fast as normal. But the second one, and the really big one, is that normally a project has a chance, based on varying factors, of having a research setback or a research breakthrough. If a breakthrough happens, it puts the research into Crash automatically, without you having to pay for it. And it will generally be a good thing, and you'll get a scientist out of it, or something along those lines as well. But if it's a research setback, then it's basically like your scientists had been pursuing a really promising lead, but ultimately it dead-ended, and so they had to go back to the beginning and review and then take a different branch. And it can set it back by a lot. On a very long very, very long research, you can be set back years of work. So man, you should at least give the unstable warp fields some antidepressants to even them out. A spy scientist, most likely. A drunk one. What? Poor scientist spy rats being forced to work crunch time. Barbaric. It's fine. It's fine. They're getting an opportunity to get paid even more by their masters. Scallywags that they are. Right, which one of these? Is it this one? Which one of you has hidden stuffs? It's you. Scan at higher levels. How can I force this to be scanned at higher level? Can I force you there? Waiting for it to arrive. I think I probably need a better module, or to send people down. Away, teams, go down there. But it's a planet literally made of water. I don't care. I know what I said. Switch that back over to Auto Scout. Auto Spy on enemies, fully automate. Do your own thing for now. But yeah, we probably need something a little bit better. Scuba teams. I mean, it's like, yeah, your species hates water, so they don't bath. What? There's dirt bathing, you know. Don't just say they don't clean themselves and so they smell bad. My lord. So frustrating. There we are. Only 1.38 years left to go. Then we're going to see a huge, whomping great bunch of things happen. So many ships are going to be sent for a retrofit at that point. Drop pods shaped like submarines. Oddly, it's the water that the microbes that make you smell bad need. And so very dry, shouldn't smell. No, it's the same thing with ferrets. A lot of people think that washing ferrets with all kinds of fancy shampoos will get rid of the smell. Like, there's two smells that will come from a ferret. One is their scent glands, and honestly, if your ferret is spraying a lot, that means that they feel anxious all the time. Like, removing their scent glands will not... That's bad. Super bad. Like, honestly, that shouldn't be part of the smell that's coming off your ferret. If that is, then there's something going on in your house. I'm not going to say you're a terrible person, but I am going to say that they don't feel safe. But ferrets produce an oil from their skin, which coats their fur and allows it to stay healthy. If you're washing that oil out, their body will react in the same way that humans react to stuff. You know? It produces more oil. And so you're making the problem worse for yourself. The more you wash them, the more oil they'll produce, because their body is fighting against you now to try and keep its fur healthy and its skin healthy. Because if it doesn't have that oil, ferrets can get eczema, their fur becomes brittle and straw-like. The problem is that ferrets themselves don't tend to smell that bad. Hobs are kind of an exception, especially when they're in rut, because much like deer, they have very curious ideas of what courtship is. It's like, how will the girl ferrets find me if they can't smell me? I better roll around in my poop. Everyone's like, oh, deers are so majestic. I'm like, have you ever seen one in rut? Because that is a wild time, I will tell you. You don't actually need to see them. You can smell them from quite far away. Deers. Truly majestic lords of the forest. Yeah, right. But anyway. Typically, the problem with, like, domestic, like, pet ferrets is their bedding. Because their body produces enough oil for their fur. And then they sleep in bedding, and if their bedding doesn't get changed a lot, then, you know, exactly what you think happens when an oily thing is in contact with a very absorbent blanket. It absorbs the oil. The ferret will produce more oil for its fur. Like, it's not generally a problem for the ferret at that level, but the bedding is getting more and more and more and more oil on it. So the bedding is the thing that smells. So, you know, it's one of the things I said often in my ferret camps. You know, we've got enough bedding that I could change their bedding 3 times a day without any issue at all. You've got to wash them mildly because, again, ferret skin is actually quite sensitive. They like, detergents and stuff would mess with them. But you can do various things like there are various, like, very, very mild clothes detergents you can use for people with bad skin, or you can, like, make your own kind of dilute concoctions. Let's pause that there. But yeah, generally, if you want to wash a ferret, like, wash without doing something that's going to be bad for them, like using shampoos and things, a rice box or a dirt bath. I know that sounds stupid, but just dry, not like potting soil, because that's quite moist, but dry earth. Just let them play in that. They will love it. They absolutely adore rice and things they can burrow in. They enjoy that. Like, they have so much fun. But when they're rolling around in that, it's absorbing some of the oil. It basically cleans them. That's how they would wash. But, you know, generally speaking, they're you know, actually kind of fastidiously clean creatures. They hate living in mess. Like, very much so. They will actively have fights over it. Ciri used to boss the other ones around so much. When Ares and Athena first came to us, they weren't quite as trained as our 3 were. And yeah, Ciri was quite aggressive. It's like, no, you're making a mess. That's the wrong place. Dragging them around. But there we go. Advanced nuclear fission research is complete. We've completed this research. The project to provide the following advances. And did it go anywhere else? Have we got any other researches from it? Yes, we have. Nuclear supercharging. This would take 12 years, but would give us energy output of 74, For the same space, realistically speaking. This sounds like my bed. Saber. So when your ferret gets wet, you put it in rice like a smartphone. I mean, some ferrets actively enjoy water. Like, they enjoy paddling around. Water isn't that rough. In fact, some of the oil they produce to keep their fur healthy gives it a quasi-hydrophobic quality. Some ferrets are more okay with swimming than others. But it's much like dogs. Some dogs love the water. Some dogs can just live without it. It's like, no. But yeah. In terms of dust baths, I saw someone mention that earlier, and Lady Sheelab is making a good point here. When I said dirt bath, I was very specific about dirt, not dust. And again, not potting soil, not like just going out into your garden and taking a shovel load of dirt. Depending on where you live, I guess. Some places might actually be quite suitable for that. But not wet dirt. You would want dry dirt. Like, you can quite often buy it from pet stores, but not dust, because they've got sensitive respiratory systems, and it can mess with them quite a lot. So you don't want any ultra fine particulates. I've never kept chinchillas personally, so I don't actually know how fine chinchilla dust is. But I noticed some people in chat asking about that. And Lady Sheelab is doing a fantastic job of on answering those questions. Thank you so much, Sheelab. Right, so stable warp fields. I'm just going to let that one go through. But we can now go and have a quick check of our ship designs. Right, so first, our mining ship. Let's just upgrade it. This should switch over to the reactor straight away. And as we can see, that's already brought us up to 24 million range. It's also pulled it down by one point. I think that should be fine. I could get a little bit more out of it if I really, really ultra wanted to by dropping this, but I don't think so. I will just go ahead and name this, because this is going to give it quite a lot more range on it. So there we are. The autonomy has already been upgraded. We'll go in and we are going to upgrade the meat mopper in exactly the same way. Only this time I'm going to, oh my lord, pop in the question marks. Not question marks, the quote marks. That one should now have a fission reactor as well. Does it really need two? I do wonder. I might be able to get away with only having one. 13 million there for a... See, it's 13 million or 16 million. If I leave that one down, but I put on an extra fuel cell, it's already got a longer range. It is better for me if my goal is to have this be able to travel far, to just put more fuel on it. The alternative, of course, is to be able to put on more cargo. How much cargo can it carry? It can carry 1,600. Is it ever really going to need to carry more than that? For any kind of construction? Like, this ship by itself is nowhere even close to that. So 1,600 is probably more than enough carrying capacity, I think. I love the way the Tecan hygiene became a discussion of ferret hygiene. It was more because, like ferrets, you're not really meant to, like, bathe them in soapy water. Like, Tecan ostensibly in this, don't like water. But the game goes to the point of saying, yeah, because of that, they don't bath and they smell bad. And I'm like, but that doesn't track. There are people who can't handle, soaps, and there are people who can't handle water. There are dry soaps and ways to keep clean. It doesn't track that they just wouldn't clean themselves because they don't like water. Now, also, I only want the latest per category, please. Yeah, there's places where using water to bath is just stupid, and there's some places where using water to bath is just irresponsible considering water restrictions. But we could drop this. I don't think we need... What's my static energy? No, my static energy needs are fairly slim, so I could probably get away with another fuel cell on this as well. Meat Mopper can travel very far, 28 million, but do I really need that? Yeah, sure. Aavak, I left your door a little bit open for Tilly, but she decided to sleep on my feet, so you can close it if you want. Oh, thank you, Sheila. Hey, yo, Garda Can the first. And are you serious? Hey, Aavak, hope the spice is flowing. So are there Teekans actually overgrown ferrets in your headcanon? Not quite. They don't have as bendy of a spine, it seems. I think we're probably just going to roll with this. With an extreme range for it. I don't think we need to carry any more cargo on this thing. I am going to list its cargo capacity, though. Oh, actually, it was more the docking bay, wasn't it? Construction speed, repair speed. We'll pop on construction speed. CST 4, TAC 3. Meat Mopper. Dunk. Our escort, let's upgrade you. Going to take me a little bit to get through all of this. I forget, did anyone... We used to know that, like, designation, like destroyer and frigate and all of that, like the 2-letter designation for like an escort ship. And I forget what it is. Tilly is indeed the kitty. And yes, Athena absolutely has a Harry Potter style lightning mark on her. KE's Corvette, FF is frigate, DD's KE, then we'll go with KE. Thank you so much. Yeah, Athena has like lightning bolt markings on her crown. It's not on her brow, it's on her crown. Wave bomb, that's fine. I don't think using the tractor beam is necessary here. We do want a deflection shield though, so let's get one of those in place. There we are. And we can fit another 10 if I absolutely want to. Apparently its range is pretty significant, so I don't think we need to add more to that.
Looking dapper.
If I dropped a fuel cell, I could give it an extra shield. Ah, damn it. Poop. Oh, yeah, man. Thank you very much for the 5 gift subs. That's super kind of you. Super kind of you. Right, we need more crew. How big is the crew systems? We can fit it. Boom. There we go. This is actually significantly more defensible now. Significantly more defensible. Shield penetration, 25% chance of 75% penetration. Reactive armor rating, boarding defense, boarding. What are we actually running with? The wave bomb and the plasma torpedo. I actually feel like going with ion on this and the wave bomb instead. Yeah. I think that works well. If I really want to, I can stick an extra energy collector on this too. Don't really need it, but I might as well. Alright. I like it. Ooh, backseat pass. By the way, Aavak, I've been playing through my own campaign and found that having a positive cash flow from taxes so that it can be put towards colony development and research is super important, especially colony development, because it quickly improves your tax income. Yes, we've currently got a positive cash flow at the moment. Not a huge one, but we're doing all right for the time being. Oh, did I not correctly upgrade this? I did not, apparently. But we're going to do the Warpster next. EX. And I keep going to use the quotation marks in the wrong place every single time. I don't think there's going to be too much for us to change here. Actually, we can drop that. Ooh. I can probably pop this on. Yes, I can. I've got room for an extra 10 then. Can't have an extra one here, but that's fine. I would rather have the ion projector as a weapon system on anything that's not really a fighting ship. Just again, the idea that it can maybe get a lucky stun on something critical and thus get away. Really, the only thing I want this thing to do is to try and get away. So maybe what I should do is, instead of adding more any kind of weapon system, is first fill out the shields, and then if there's enough room for a weapon system, add that. I think that's actually a better idea. Fuel range is pretty enormous. Let's add a little bit more. There we are, 40 million. I like the idea of Distant Worlds 2, but I must say I'm not a big fan of the whole slot system. I really dislike it. I can totally get where you're coming through there, Wanda. Wandernaut, when I first saw this in the preview build, this is the biggest mechanical thing that I dislike over the first game. You know, in comparison with other games, it's neither here nor there. It's like no different from other games. But I do miss the freedom to design my own ships of my own preference in whatever way I wanted. And you know, I could throw crazy combinations of things onto ships if I felt like it. I do miss that. One thing I will say, though, is this does prevent super cheesy abuse of private ships. Because, oh my lord, it was kind of hard to resist that. Either my sound is messed up or I can't hear anything right now. Oh, I'm sorry, Doom. I mean, you wouldn't hear me saying this, but hopefully someone can reply to you and let you know. Though, this is an example of an actual mechanical thing that has consequence that I do miss from the first game. An example of something that has no mechanical consequence that I desperately miss from the first game is the fact that planets orbited the sun. Again, I will keep talking about that. The orbital mechanics not being there makes me so sad. So sad. Now, to be fair, I guess there was a little bit of an impact for it, but not a lot of one, I will say. I don't feel that it was a hugely impactful thing, the orbital mechanics, but yeah, you know, I definitely feel it. Definitely feel it not being there. Switch that over. Now, do we actually have much room? Not really. This has a decent range. 31 million. I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and save and exit. Tunk. We'll get our private economy to private economy to dump a load of money in upgrading a bunch of ships. It's going to be great. So you're an orbitist. I am indeed. Will 7 Days to Die be coming back? If not, I respect your decision. Simply curious. Do you mean the oh, was I playing that with Lady Sheila last, or was I just playing it by myself last? No, I was playing with Lady Sheila last. I had to think then. Lady Sheila hasn't been too well recently, but it is definitely something that we would like to get back to. Yeah. It's literally just making sure Lady Sheila has time to properly recover. Her back got hurt, and she is she's currently seeing a physio over it, and just slowly on the path to recovery. And she is getting better, but you know, we probably won't be going back to streaming it for a while, because streams are like 5-6 hour long things, if not much longer, you know, with me, and that is just not something that she should be doing yet. Frequent breaks. But she will get better, yeah. Thankfully, we got her to the doctor and then to physio soon enough that they've found the problem before it becomes a permanent sort of problem. So it's absolutely something that will recover if it's given enough time and proper exercises and things like that to correct. Right, so we want to upgrade the Raging Auroch, our mining station, which does actually have about 11 space on it, and may have way more power than it needs now. Oh no, just a little bit too little. Well, that's a shame. Oh well. Is there anything else I can do here? Don't think so. Not if I want 2 docking bays. I could reduce the amount of docking bays I have. It would just mean that it would take longer for things to gather from it, but each docking bay comes with 2 ships. So I could perhaps focus on that. Cargo bay is okay right now. Mining rate is only 30 a second. Could pop that in there. That gives me a mining rate of 40, so we're back up to the 40 per second mining rate. The Commerce Center will allow people to directly trade with it. I mean, I could put a remote fuel transfer, so ships that wanted simply to fuel, especially in the cases where if this was a mining station around a fuel bearing like a gas giant, maybe I should make a separate one. What do you think, chat? Yeah, as Sheila mentions there, it's been around 10 weeks now, and she can do about 2 hours at a time at a desk. What is remote fuel transfer good for? It allows ships to be refueled without having to dock. Pandora Starbreeze. It always seems when I come in, Aavak is in the ship designer. I don't know what you're talking about. I think we'll have 2 types of these that sit there in tandem. So one mining station that is, though, can you specifically build like that? Or will it only ever give you the option to use the most recent one? Is it strictly a sitting exclusion or more being in only one position for long periods, Lucia? Oh, right, sorry, you were asking Lucia. I thought you were talking to me. Let's see. Got more than enough crew, that's great. I mean, you know what? So I don't have to faff around with having to have 2 different types. We'll pop in the remote fuel transfer on this. That way, if a ship is trying to refuel, it can just refuel. I think that's perfect. I don't think it specifies like it did in DW1. It seems a mining ship is a mining ship is a mining ship. Yeah, I get that. I think that is the case, that it doesn't expect you to have different versions of a similar tech level building. It's just, you know, oh, it's the latest version of that. So that must be the one that you want, which is a bit of a shame, but oh well. Research station, there shouldn't be much to change with this, other than, you know, changing the name to the new setup. Yeah, we can pull down one of the reactors. I can pop in an extra energy collector. Let me move these around a little bit. Right, basic crew system. Let's pop that up here. Along with that one. Along with this one. That research lab has to be down there. That's fine. Now we want some fuel. We want energy collectors. Static energy. We'll have 2 of these. Definitely. I'll leave this with 125. You get. I mean, I could put a basic survey module on here, but I'm not really sure there's much point. There's definitely point in having the deflection field generators, though. Okay, now we're starting to push the reactor requirements. So let's pop in an extra fusion reactor. I could pop in an extra cargo bay if I really wanted to. I could also put in a small mining engine. The reality is, these things are always going to be built around planets. Or generally, as far as I'm aware, these things will always be built around planets. Is that true, chat? Oh, good night, Interferes. You have a good one. Is there ever a reason not to have a mining thing on it? Planet, asteroid, something like that. Yeah, we'll always build it around something, because you have to have a research bonus at the place to be able to build a research station. So with that in mind, I could build a small mining engine. That doesn't mean there's anything to mine. You're quite right. You're quite right that it doesn't mean there's anything to mine, but in many cases there will be. Again, this would be where being able to select a different type would be useful. I guess, ultimately, though, I could just build a mining station around at the location rather than build a lab that can mine. You know, I'll just be able to build 2 separate stations. It really does feel like, because this is actually a good example. In Worlds 1, I kind of gamed the system enormously. I made sure that my private sector had an incredibly booming economy. They were doing fantastically well. They were super wealthy, so I stuck research labs on all of my mining stations. Every mining station I built added to the research capacity of my empire. It was ridiculous.